Beneath the dark undercurrent of the TerraMar Project, a supposed ocean charity, there lies a connection to one of the most infamous trafficking and abuse scandals in modern history. On its face, the TerraMar Project looked like a sleek, global nonprofit dedicated to protecting international waters. Its website invited people to become citizens of the ocean. It spoke the language of stewardship, sustainability, and global responsibility. However, beyond the public messaging and charitable appearance, one key issue I believe everyone is overlooking is the sign-up page asked for an age, a date of birth, phone number. Right on the homepage were pictures of children, which would encourage kids to sign up. And more importantly, it was founded by Ghislaine Maxwell. A quick backstory. Before prison, Maxwell wasn't known as a convicted trafficker. She was known as a connector, a fixture in elite social circles, the daughter of British media tycoon Robert Maxwell. She grew up in the shadow of power, political power, financial power, and international influence. Robert Maxwell moved in prominent political and intelligence circles during the Cold War. Insiders have said Maxwell was a longtime Mossad agent, and in recent DOJ-released emails, there's a mention of Robert's mysterious death by Mossad. Jeffrey Epstein swimming in those circles helped deepen his relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell in a close personal and professional alliance. By 2008, Epstein was a convicted sex offender. Fast forward 4 years after Epstein's conviction, in 2012, Ghislaine Maxwell launched TerraMar Project. The branding was careful, strategic, and international. TerraMar positioned itself as a visionary ocean initiative focused on the high seas, a region beyond the jurisdiction, oversight, and borders of any one country. It hosted panels. It promoted global citizenship. It aligned itself with high-profile environmental messaging. Maxwell herself attended elite events, spoke at the UN, gave a TED Talk, and remained socially integrated even after Epstein's 2008 conviction. The list of founding citizens reads like a cross-section of global finance and philanthropy. Names connected to major banking families, names connected to political circles, names like Eddie Lutnik, names like David W. de Rothschild. Different industries, but the same level of access. This is where the circles begin to overlap. Through Ghislaine, TerraMar Project became directly linked to influential political and philanthropic spaces, including commitments with organizations such as the Clinton Global Initiative. And I quote from Vanity Fair in 2011, Ghislaine Maxwell's Rolodex would blow away almost anyone else's I can think of, probably even Rupert Murdoch's. She is very well read and can talk about most things for hours. She is passionate about Bill Clinton, with whom she is close friends. Maxwell has also raised money for Clinton and his library. As the Mail reported in 2003, Clinton is raising money for his library with a party in New York, and Ghislaine is on the host committee, I'm told. Her likely date for the evening will be her on-off love, vastly eligible American financier, Jeffrey Epstein, in whose magnificent New York townhouse she has been living for the past couple of years. Maxwell was even present at Chelsea Clinton's 2010 wedding, according to a candidly snapped photo. Still, Bill and Hillary Clinton insist their relationship with Maxwell and Epstein was limited.
My husband has said he took some rides on the airplane for his charitable work. I don't recall ever meeting him.
Did you ever meet Ghislaine Maxwell?
I did on a few occasions, and thousands of people go to the Clinton Global Initiative.
And the circle of influence doesn't stop at philanthropy. Eddie Lutnik, another founding citizen of TerraMar Project, leads the charitable arm of Cantor Fitzgerald. Her brother, Howard Lutnik, is now the Secretary of Commerce. I can't stress enough the close ties between TerraMar and high-ranking government offices enough. Howard Lutnik, former CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald, has also appeared in Epstein-related disclosures. Initially, Lutnik publicly distanced himself from Epstein.
If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross.
Later DOJ document releases showed his email exchanges and at least 2 in-person meetings, including visits to Epstein's Island, where he brought his children after the 2008 conviction. That alone raises questions about judgment at the highest levels of public office. But the questions don't end there. Cantor Fitzgerald has faced scrutiny over its hostile work environment and its financial activities, including investigations into allegations of financial misconduct. In this FBI document, a whistleblower alleges what he described as an alleged global Ponzi scheme, claiming employees were forced to contribute 10% of their salary into a shared structure they never vested in. Then the story seems to vanish. The document also mentioned Lutnik's New York home located next door to Epstein, who sold Lutnik the home for $10. More recently, Lutnik has faced scrutiny about tariff-related financial insider trading, with reporting suggesting entities tied to Cantor benefiting from tariff policy shifts. In July, Wire reported that Cantor Fitzgerald, which Lutnik chaired until he was appointed to Trump's cabinet, was allowing its traders to purchase the rights to hundreds of millions of dollars of refunds in the event the tariffs were struck down in court. The firm is now headed by Lutnik's sons, Kyle and Brandon. The magazine cited a letter from the firm explaining how Cantor Fitzgerald was willing to exchange refund rights for 20 to 30% of what the companies paid. So for a company that paid $10 million, they could expect to receive $2 to $3 million a trade, a Cantor Fitzgerald representative wrote. We have the capacity to trade up to several hundred million of these presently and can likely upsize that in the future to meet potential demand. When a commerce secretary has proximity to a convicted sex trafficker and is linked to financial controversies affecting public policy, the public deserves transparency and the right to ask questions. I am not trying to broad brush guilt by association, but there is a pattern of social conditioning that protects status from scrutiny. Is it our parasocial relationships or a culture of normalization? So what was TerraMar Project structurally? According to IRS filings, TerraMar Project reported just around $400,000 in revenue over 6 years, barely a ripple compared to the vast ambitions touted on its website. Out of this, they spent almost nothing on actual conservation initiatives. The filings show significant overhead and founder loans. For an organization that preaches global stewardship, it did not fund or report any large-scale conservation projects in proportion to its global messaging. After 2008, Maxwell wasn't retreating. She was repositioning. Environmental advocate, UN speaker, ocean sovereignty visionary, global citizen architect. Was TerraMar really about ocean awareness? Or was it a reputational reset, a way to launder not just money, but image? Was TerraMar just another wave in the ecosystem's undercurrent? Then, shortly after Epstein's federal arrest in 2019, TerraMar shut down. That timing was peculiar. Had the waters gotten too deep? The immediate dissolution of the project and no attempt to preserve the mission make it feel less philanthropic and very much like a costume. Why did they not fund a single project or award a single grant? Why did an ocean awareness nonprofit collect detailed personal information, including from minors, and their only form of advocacy was hosting events for the untouchables? I'd say it was mostly posturing. None of this is proof of any criminal conspiracies, but it illuminates a core issue. These elite networks often shield those in power from true accountability, allowing influence and privilege to evade meaningful scrutiny. Time and again, we see the same phenomenon. We are groomed to admire wealth the way we were taught to revere biblical kings, for instance, without asking, do they deserve respect? Like David, who also raped a woman, and the justice was the child being sacrificed for it. But David suffered no repercussions, insulated from reproach. What's an extra kick in the teeth? That it's only a fraction of the Epstein files that have been released. But what if Epstein wasn't the apex predator in this ocean, and he was just the middleman, a broker and facilitator? If that's true, then TerraMar, CGI, and the like could be more like infrastructure than a simple philanthropic overlap. Beyond Maxwell, TerraMar Project, the Clintons, the Lutniks, the Epstein class is a network. Finance, politics, philanthropy, global NGOs, media, banking, tech. similar types of individuals moving through similar spaces. TerraMar moved inside established networks like the Clinton Global Initiative, a Davos-style brokerage hub to bring together the who's who of wealthy socialites. Emails released in DOJ materials show Ghislaine Maxwell involved in early planning discussions for the inaugural CGI event, including an email where Epstein allegedly arranged a $1 million wire to publicists to produce it. Epstein's defense attorney has previously claimed he was part of the core team that developed the initiative's concept. If Epstein had a knack for structuring nonprofits, engineering tax shelters, and managing elite reputations, CGI would have been the perfect ecosystem for that skill set. And that raises a larger question. If Epstein wasn't the king, but the broker, then CGI wasn't a stage, but a marketplace. We reflectively defer to wealth in a capitalist society. Status is mistaken for credibility, influence for legitimacy. This conditioning provides protection from interrogation and reinforces imbalances at every level. But if vast wealth is built on extraction, on child labor, on trafficking, on underpaid labor, regulatory capture, financial engineering through illegal tariffs, why should we treat millionaires as moral authorities? When working people like us make mistakes, consequences are swift. When elites move in questionable proximity to convicted criminals, the network absorbs the shock. So we're left with an unsettling image. Images of innocence haunt the failed charity's website. One of the photos in particular, a little boy about 10 years old gazing at the camera with his eyes wide, sunlight catching the salt water in his hair, his smile optimistic and trusting. Faces like his were used as pawns in a game they didn't know they were playing. In an era where data is currency, why would an organization presented as a champion of ocean stewardship build a database of children? A woman publicly recast as an environmental visionary whose criminal enterprises involved minors? The brazenness of a network of ultra-wealthy who felt no fear of repercussion for being socially adjacent to a close associate of Epstein? The high seas have no borders. And now, privilege influence is as boundless as the high seas themselves. Quickly before I'm done here, I wanted to mention some of the conspiracy theories that are out there. And some of them are out there. They allege TerraMar was part of a submarine endeavor, that Maxwell, a trained pilot, was interested in offshore mobility, and with the recent file drop, images turned up of a hatch beneath the island mansion leading directly to the water. Others claim TerraMar was an attempt to establish citizenship, not just symbolically, but in international waters outside traditional national jurisdiction. We know the rich are obsessed with underwater travel, but I'm not sure if it's true. However, there is a picture of now deceased scientist and guest of Epstein Island, Stephen Hawking, in a submarine. Emails and images confirming the LSJ trip, as well as emails with discussions of a submarine. But here's the thing. Sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. And when your government is hiding the truth from you, people will start to fill in the gaps. I'm not saying this is a cult, but the behavioral models should feel familiar to anyone who has experienced or at least studied them. Hierarchy, inner circles, gatekeepers, information control, exploitation, loyalty rewarded, dissent punished socially, not legally. In elite networks, status protects influence. So I want to hear from you. What theories have you heard? What do you think sounds plausible? And where do you think the real story lies? The lingering questions about TerraMar point to something larger. The same circles of power persist, often shifting just outside the reach of consequence. Instead of accepting this as inevitable, perhaps it's time to insist on real answers. What would happen if we collectively demanded full disclosure from these networks about funding, data collection, relationship with convicted traffickers? Real scrutiny thrives on public pressure. If the high seas are truly everyone's domain, then so is the truth. Accountability should not be optional. Will we ask for it? Your voice isn't just a drop in the ocean. So call your reps and demand accountability. Remember, folks, curiosity cured the cat, and I'll see you next time.